Hi. What if every moment of your life were designed as a chance for you to grow? What if each of your daily experiences were an occasion to become more attentive, intelligent, reasonable, responsible, loving, more moral, more merciful, humble, faithful, self-controlled, patient, kind, gentle, tender, peaceful, and joyful? What if someone loved you so much that he or she invited you at every real opportunity to experience all of this and feel more compassion for your own suffering and the suffering others endure? That's how Francis saw his life after his conversion. He knew that God was madly in love with him. Here in week 3, we will develop what you learned in week 2. Recall that last week you learned Franciscan values for social inclusion, along with the SDGs. Now, as you read Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning and work through the PowerPoints on it and the types of conversion, you will appreciate different ways people approach suffering and different ways they see their own suffering. Frankl contends that one's attitude toward undeserved suffering defines one's character. So when Frankl talks about Franciscan friar Maximilian Kolbe, Frankl boldly claims that in Auschwitz, people became more different. People unmasked themselves, both swine and saints. And today you need no longer hesitate to use the word saints. He says, think of Father Maximilian Kolbe. Please read through the PowerPoint on Maximilian Kolbe. There you will learn that he not only always got in line last for food, but gave up his meager rations when someone needed them. How could he do something so amazing? Kolbe saw every one of his fellow prisoners as his brother. Even more, he saw the Nazis who beat him with wooden beams as his brothers. As Jesus and St. Francis had shown him, Kolbe knew that everyone was his brother or sister, and he prayed for those who beat him. Even more astoundingly, when the Nazis were choosing a group of men to kill in reprisal for an attempted escape, and one man in the group cried out, "My wife, my children," Kolbe said, "Take me instead." For those of us still on the journey, such acts by Maximilian Kolbe, the saint of Auschwitz, seem impossible. But when you know someone is your brother, you'll do anything for him. Perhaps none of us will be called to such heroism. However, Frankl teaches us that it's important to be worthy of our sufferings, that the way we bear our suffering is a genuine inner achievement. Please consider what Frankl means when he writes the following. The way in which a man accepts his fate and all the suffering it entails, the way in which he takes up his cross, gives him ample opportunity, even under the most difficult circumstances, to add a deeper meaning to his life. It may remain brave, dignified, and unselfish, or in the bitter fight for self-preservation, he may forget his human dignity and become no more than an animal. Here lies the chance for man either to make use of or to forego the opportunities of attaining the moral values that a difficult situation may afford him. And this decides whether he is worthy of his sufferings or not. Do not think that these conditions are unworldly and too far removed from real life. It's true that only a few people are capable of reaching such high moral standards. Of the prisoners, only a few kept their full inner liberty and obtained those values which their suffering afforded. But even one such example is sufficient proof that man's inner strength may raise him above his outward fate. Such men are not only in concentration camps. Everywhere, man is confronted with fate and the chance of achieving something through his own suffering. Each of us must ask ourselves, what do I want to achieve? Who am I? Who do I want to become? Here at St. Francis, We call everyone to become that someone. This means that we're inviting you to become the authentic person God is inviting you to be. For one person, that might mean calling your mom who's scared during this COVID time. For someone else, it might mean talking with a lonely grandmother or grandfather. As Frankl says, no one can tell another person what is his to do or hers to do. That's up to that person to figure out. And as St. Francis of Assisi said, I did what was mine to do. May Christ teach you what is yours to do. What we can do at St. Francis is give you some guideposts and show you that what you do and the way you see what you do matters. We gave you some guideposts last week, and those you'll integrate this week. So as you think about the types of conversion, religious, intellectual, moral, and psychic, consider whether you want to include the principles for social inclusion you learned last week into your life. Everyone suffers. So as you watch the video documentary, When Bad Things Happen to Good People by Kushner, and work through the PowerPoint, think about whether you agree with him that God never causes suffering. Rather, God is the one who is with us in our suffering. And I invite you to figure out if what was said about St. Francis is also true for you. Quote, it's the highest and holiest of paradoxes, that one who really knows one cannot pay one's debt will be forever repaying it. No one has ever lived that paradox as fully as St. Francis of Assisi, whose vision of the world, its history, and his role in it was characterized by a consciousness of the loving God who had bestowed on him every good and perfect gift. Thank you and have a wonderful day.